In the winter of 1814, a major river in Europe did something it had never done before. It froze completely solid. For weeks, the city celebrated this rare event. Markets were set up on the ice. Children played where boats once floated, and couples strolled along the frozen waterway. History remembers it as a beautiful winter miracle. But what history barely mentions is what else was built on that frozen river: a temporary prison. At the time, the city was overwhelmed with beggars, deserters, and people accused of spreading disease or panic. With the regular prisons overflowing, officials came up with a new solution. They used the frozen river as a holding ground. Wooden cages were chained directly into the thick ice, and guards were told the bitter cold would preserve order. In the beginning, prisoners shouted for help every night. People on the banks could hear their desperate cries echoing across the ice. But then, slowly, the shouting stopped. As the end of winter approached, officials announced the river would thaw soon and promised everyone would be released. Families gathered, waiting anxiously. Names were read and reassurances were given. But when spring finally arrived, something went terribly wrong. The ice didn't melt evenly as expected. Instead, huge chunks broke away in the dead of night, silently drifting downstream with the current. Entire cages vanished beneath the black water before the morning patrols even noticed they were gone. Officials later reported it as an unfortunate accident. They claimed that records were lost in the chaos and no exact numbers could be given. The city moved on, and the incident was forgotten. Years later, fishermen downstream started finding strange things in their nets: rusted chains, broken pieces of wood, and bones tied together with iron. The government dismissed these findings, blaming them on old shipwrecks. Decades passed. Then, a journal surfaced. It was written by a young guard who had been assigned to the river prison. In it, he described orders that were never made public. He wrote that as spring approached, the guards were told not to unlock the cages. The journal entry quoted an official saying, "Let the river decide." The final entry was the most unsettling. The guard wrote that on the last night, as the ice began to crack and groan, he heard something from beneath his feet. It wasn't screaming, it was knocking. A steady, rhythmic knocking, as if someone had learned the rhythm of the river itself and was simply asking to be let out. The next morning, the journal ends abruptly. What makes this story so disturbing isn't just the idea of a frozen prison. It's that city records show no investigation, no memorial, and no official acknowledgement of what happened. But in later years, whenever the river froze again, the city quietly banned anyone from walking on it. Locals say it wasn't because the ice was weak. They say it's because, sometimes, the river knocks back.